There is one good thing about Bitcoin going lower today, and maybe it even still goes to this trend line right here. This is the channel I've been watching for a long time, and we still may end up hitting this lower channel, but you're at key horizontal support here at 74,000. Okay, and again, we bounced, and let me draw my trend line straight there. You bounced right here, and that was the March peak, which was just under 74,000. This is major support. You may hit the trend line, which is just underneath it at 70 or 71,000, and breach this level still and hit it. But I think that we have a corrective move, and I think this is intermediate wave 4. Maybe it's done, maybe it's not. When it's done, I think you're still going to move to this upper channel line. If we take our time doing it, again, you can go well above 150,000, depending. And the good news is that by the rally stalling here and not going immediately, we could even go higher with Bitcoin. That's the good news. The longer you take to reach my trend line of resistance, the higher Bitcoin can go. And again, because we didn't do it over here, then now you potentially could take longer to reach it, and Bitcoin will go higher the longer you take to reach that trend line. Now, we might fall short of it, like over here. We fell short of this lower boundary, but we still moved to a new low. We could still move to a new high and still fall short of this area. But this is what I think is likely going to be the case. And right now, this is a preview of coming attractions. I think the sell-off that we've had with Bitcoin, the sell-off we've had with the stock market surrounding tariffs and concerns about a recession quickly go away. And we're going to get a massive rebound, and sentiment is going to quickly change back to extremely bullish. Now, when we get up here, people that are extremely bearish right now are going to tell us the same things they told us over here. There's no way Bitcoin's going down. It's going to 500,000. No, you're wrong. It's going to 1 million. No, 2 million, and all these other ridiculous targets when it's likely going up to this trend line. Whenever we come in contact with that. Now, a date is not my target. Now, we could reach this quickly. We could do it in a couple months. We could do it on into the summer. So a date is not my target. Number is not my target, because we can reach the trend line. I don't know where you come into contact with it. Quickly at a lower levels, or you take your time reaching it and you go higher. Date's not my target. A number is not my target. The trend line is my target. Whenever we reach it, whatever date that may be, whatever price that may be, that's what I'm looking for. And again, get up there. Nobody's going to think it's a top. Again, the bearish sentiment and all the negativity is going to end up going away if I'm correct. And this is intermediate wave 4. And this larger move higher. And again, this whole thing is 5 intermediate waves. So we've got 1, we've got 2, we've got 3, we've got 4, and this will be 5. And that's all, see the blue count right here? That's all primary wave 5 in blue there. So you're going to finish this 5-leg push higher. You're going to finish intermediate wave 5. That'll unfold in 5 legs higher. And you're going to finish primary wave 5. And then we're going to top. Bitcoin will price in the recession. Right now is the preview of coming attractions. The fears are going to go away. Recovery is going to be made. We're going to get the real crisis. Still believe Bitcoin is going to go higher. I think Bitcoin's in a bottoming process. Now, maybe it reaches my trend line. Maybe we go lower. But I think, again, you drop below 74,000. You cannot get back above it. That's going to be bearish. You drop below it and bounce off this trend line. That'll be bullish. Let's hear off of today's low and some of these bottoming signals that I'm showing you play out, and that's it. Then, again, that's going to be bullish. How to break that downward trend line I've been showing you. There's a bull flag pattern going into 50-week moving average and the trend line from the 2023 low, which I've talked about at great length and detail. The 2023 low, we're hitting this trend line, and I got to get my other chart. We're slightly breaching it. So again, we'll see if we can rebound back up. Please support the channel with the link directly below that allows me to be able to provide you this information. If you like the charts, you like my indicators, let me know that by supporting the channel. It takes a lot of time and effort to do this with you. I'm sharing with you things I look at every single day. Take a moment and support the channel anything helps, follow the link below to take you to a secured site. You can donate any amount you want. I thank you for your consideration for that. If you watch the video all the way through, I saved the best for last. You'll see the goodies, all my great indicators at the end of this video. Important things to share with you ahead of that, but you want to see some amazing indicators, take the time and watch the video all the way through. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the bottoming signals that Bitcoin is forming. And as I'm making this video, and I've already made that section of the video, and as I'm doing it, they're starting to play out a little bit here as we're starting to get a rally. Still may test these lows. We still may even take them out, watch the video all the way through, but we've dropped 32%. The last major sell-off, we dropped 33%. Bitcoin bottomed out. We're bouncing, trying to bounce off Bitcoin's average price. The risk is still hit this lower channel line and go to the rising trend line in the weekly time frame, which I'm showing you in this video. Can we rally back to the moving averages, back to the 50 and the 200, and eventually clear this trend line? We'll be watching. Okay, the media told us, no way, it's over. But yet I told you we're going to see negotiations happen. You had the European Union today announce that they're ready to negotiate. They offered 0 for 0 tariffs for industrial goods. But this is the first step. We were told no way this was going to happen. It's telling us it's over, forget it. And I've told you, again, you're going to have these negotiations. You're going to have a lot of these tariffs go away. You're going to have deals cut. You said it wouldn't work back in 2018. It did. A deal was reached with the tariffs with Canada and Mexico. The tariffs stayed in place with China, and the market ignored it and still went to new highs. The Bitcoin and the market sold off, rebounded today on this. Now, we had the Trump administration slap on the tariffs on China, reciprocal tariffs. China now retaliates, and they retaliated. The tariffs Trump's doing, they're going to start on April 9th. China's saying that they're going to start their tariffs, retaliatory tariffs, on the 10th. Didn't do that. Europe saying, we're going to do retaliatory tariffs, but we'll do it way back in May because they're going to reach a deal. They're going to cut a deal before they retaliate, and they don't want Trump doing what he's doing to China here. Because they saw what he did already in Canada. They do retaliatory tariffs of 34%. Trump says, okay, if China doesn't withdraw, it's 34% increase. By April 8th, tomorrow, the U.S. will impose additional tariffs on China of 50% effective on the 9th. So their tariffs are averaged out at about 54%, all the tariffs, and it would go up to 104% if they don't withdraw the retaliatory tariffs. Not messing around with them. Also saying that he's going to terminate negotiations with them if they do this, if they don't withdraw it. China's getting a wake-up call. They're testing Trump. They're testing to see what would happen. They have a choice. Either they can go into a depression, they've already got major problems in their economy, or they can quit playing games and remove this. If they remove these tariffs tomorrow, we're going to see a massive rally with Bitcoin. We're going to see a massive rally in the stock market in all likelihood, as we got the reversal bars today with the news with the European Union. I keep telling you, again, we're going to have these negotiations. We're going to have these deals. He is telling us, no way, Trump's going to just crash the economy. And I keep saying, you got to be pretty naive to believe that these countries are going to willfully walk into recession without trying to negotiate a deal. My guess is China's going to cave. They're testing Trump. My guess is they're going to cave. Even if they don't, you've got all these other countries that are now calling up the White House. 50 different countries, or it's over 50 now. I think it's up to 70, based on a story I just read. You got all these countries doing 0 for 0. You've got it with Israel, Vietnam, Argentina, Zimbabwe. India's about to cut a big deal with the Trump administration. Taiwan now. Israel. They're all now negotiating these deals, and tariffs are going away. Exactly what I told you would happen. Continue to have this cycle where Trump wants something, better trade deal, something at the border, whatever, and apps on tariffs. The media tells us it's not going to work this time, and then we see the different countries cave. Trump gets what he wants, and it ends up working. That's what the pattern we keep seeing. The media is telling us, oh, no, this time it's different. It's not going to work, and it is. Bitcoin's about to get a massive rally. It could be surrounding possibly the news with China. If China ends up withdrawing the tariffs, could see a massive rally with Bitcoin, a massive rally, a rebound in the market. We'll be watching to see how it unfolds. Bitcoin ended up going to where? 74,000. Right at about 74,427 or so, rounding up, bouncing up Bitcoin's average price. It's bouncing off horizontal support. I told you 74,000 is key support. You can break it, but you better not stay below that. And even if we end up going lower, you can go down to the rising trend line from the 2022 low, and you can go down to 70 or 71,000, but you better not stay below 74,000. You better get back above it. It's average price, horizontal support. If we break it, you better bounce. We bottomed out right here, right now. With another bottoming tail like we had back over here. Like over here at the January low, the bottoming tail there, and over here for a counter trend rally, then again, we need to come back up and be able to get above the 50 and the 200. I've talked about this at great length and detail. Look, if we can rally back up and get above the trend line, get back above the 50 and the 200, then you can bottom. And it's what happens when you get the death cross that we just had right here. The 50 crossing below the 200 is a death cross. Is what happens is sometimes you bottom before that happens. We did back at 49,000, the last major low that we had. Other times, bottom with the death cross or shortly thereafter, so we still might go down to 70 or 71,000. But other times, it brings about a bear market. So again, we're going to be watching if we can get back above the 200 and the 50 as they get the death cross in the coming days ahead, end up breaking this downward trend line, end up getting back above the cloud, end up getting back above this horizontal resistance. Look at the resistance right here. Tried to get above it right here, and it failed at the 20 period. Came down. We got rejection there and rejection there at horizontal resistance and the 50 period, just under the 50, the green line, and just at the 50 period right here, just overthrowing it. So again, if we can clear overhead resistance, if we can clear the downward trend line, if we can clear the 50 and the 200 period moving average, then again, you can come back up towards the 100 period and try to get back above the cloud. You got to get above the 100 period to turn it around. Bitcoin follows the 100 period. Now we're trapped between Bitcoin's average price and the 100 period moving average. We can find support and a bottom here, then you got to get back above the 100 to resume the advance and try to come up to the 100,000 area and clear this resistance right in here at the 100,000 range. Possibly completing a divergence here. We've got the lows over here and the lows over here. This bottoming tail, the RSI really doesn't look at that, but other indicators do, and again, or some do. So again, we're going to be watching. Do we turn back up with the stochastic? Does the MACD end up firming back up? Do we mark this as a bottom and start getting back above the 10 and 20 period moving average? Start moving back towards these moving averages, breaking the trend line, overhead resistance, and getting above the moving averages would be extremely bullish. We have a possible, again, I talked about a possible double bottom over here that never got confirmed. It could be that this whole thing is a larger double bottom pattern. And again, undercutting the previous low, we would need to get above this peak right here in order to be able to validate that as a double bottom pattern. Well, we got these bottoms over here. By the time we got the death cross over here, right here, again, the bottom was already in right here, and that was in our, our 33% correction over here. We went sideways, and we got the death cross, and again, as that happened, Bitcoin bottomed, and it began to rally back up above the 50, rally back up eventually and test the 200, pull back to the 50, and then it cleared it. Do we see something like that here where we get back above the 50 and the 200? Do we break the downward trend line? Bitcoin, it'll get the death cross and it'll bottom just before the death cross, other times just after. Sometimes it'll usher in the bear market. More examples, just after we got the death cross over here, just after it, and we actually had rallied into it, and then we bottomed shortly thereafter after that death cross, ended up going and making new highs. Breathtaking rally after a 55% sell-off. We've only dropped 30%, or today it's a little bit more than that now because we did move to a new low, but previously 30%, a little bit more than that. After a 55% drop, we were able to rally to new highs. Over here, we got the death cross. And again, we ushered in the bear market. You eventually bottomed out, rebounded back up, got rejection at the 200, and the bottom fell out of Bitcoin. So which is this going to be? My guess is we're going to break out of a bull flag, and you're going to go to new highs. And I think Bitcoin will top. And nobody believes it's possible. You know, months ago, I was telling you, the CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, was scoffing at the idea of a recession. Now he's saying we're going to have a recession. But he dismissed the possibility of a recession and said there was zero chance. Well, he's moved the other way. And this is, you know, people, Bitcoin was back at the highest, ignored the possibility of recession. We're going to have one. Bitcoin is likely not topped yet. At the people that were scoffing at recession and telling us it couldn't happen, now people like BlackRock's CEO are now coming, oh, we're going to have a recession. And again, when we start to rally back up, they're going to dismiss it again. We're at a place right now where, again, the people that told us that there's no way back up at the top that Bitcoin could go down, now they say there's no way it can go back up. And again, people that told us there was no way we could, laughed at the possibility of recession. I was talking about recession before everybody started being all concerned about it, before the negative GDP and all the rest of it for the first quarter of 2025. I have people echoing what I've been saying. But again, the herd is extremely emotional, and again, even the big money. But we had this 13 count. We might see that as a counter-trend bounce or a bottom. And I told you, even if it's a bottom, we still might go a little bit lower, still have it be a bottoming signal. The last 13 count over here was in December, marked the very day of the top. Over here, in the 9 count marked the day after the January top. Here we had a counter trend. Is this a counter trend or is this a bottom? If we bounce on 74,000, then it could be a bottoming signal because we're also getting a 9 count in the weekly time frame. Now, my video yesterday, my last video, I told you we might break this level. You can go to 74,000, which so far we're doing, or you might go lower to 70, 71,000, where there's major support. You drop below 74,000, you better not stay below it. Well, we dropped to 74,000 when we bounced. See how we close. So the week is still young, but you've got this 9 count. The S&P and NASDAQ are getting 8 counts. The 8 or 9 bar could be the low of the count. Sometimes you get a count, you get a 9 count, and you go a little bit higher. Sometimes you get a 9 count, and you go a little bit lower. You better not stay below 74,000, as I keep saying. Would this sell-off right here be a bottom? If we get a big rally back up, again, it'll still be a perfected signal as long as we don't move above the bar from 4 weeks ago. Now, if we do, the count may not complete, but you could still have a reversal if you break the downtrend and you start clearing the overhead resistance zone to move above the January high. Just be aware that this count is setting up. We'll see if it completes or not. If we attempt a recovery or try to complete a bottoming process this week. The Bitcoin weekly chart. Again, these signals are looking at momentum, but I am getting some bottoming signals here that could be a major bottom or it could just be a short-term bottom. Over here, we got the signals. Now, this is the only one I'm getting. This is just looking at momentum right here. But it did a nice job in calling the top up here. Okay, called this short-term bottom right here. Okay, after other bottoming signals here, it marked the bottom right here. Does this mark a bottom at Bitcoin's average price? Got to see the balance of power go back to positive if that's going to be the case. We got to see the momentum line right here, this little red line right here. We got to see it turn back to blue. Tried to do it here and it failed. Got to flip the momentum back to bullish if we're going to see this. And then we got to see other bullish signals happen. So again, just wanted to make the video and let you know I am getting some bottoming signals, whether that's short-term bottom like over here and over here, or is it a major bottom like this was a major top over here. We'll see what happens. It's just looking at momentum here. I don't have any other signals. I don't have a little green circle. I don't have any little buy signals yet. And again, everything's bearish at this point. This is all I'm getting here. But I have other signals that are showing bottoming, potential bottoming process as well. So again, could it be marking a bottom? If we see a big reversal back up, then you very well could have it and start flipping momentum. Right here, bars turn back to red. They tried to turn up and it failed. So again, we'll be watching to see if they can turn it around at the 74,000 area. There's still risk. Listen carefully. Are you listening? There's still risk that we lose this area. It could be a continuation spinning top candlestick here, and we could still hit the 70 to 71,000 area, which is the next level of support under 74,000. But right now we're trying to bounce off 74,000, undercutting this low over here just a little bit, getting a potential bottoming tail at Bitcoin's average price. Lose Bitcoin's average price, it's over. You lose it, you cannot get back above it. That's extremely bearish. You bounce here, that's going to be very bullish. Or even if you go down to 70 or 71,000 and then you get back above it, that will be bullish. You lose this area, then Bitcoin's toast. I think we're bottoming. I think we're going to recover. I think Bitcoin's going to go make new highs, but then it's going to top. Watch the video all the way through. I got several bottoming signals today. Now, again, whether that's a short-term bottom or something like a major bottom remains to be seen, but I did get a bunch of bullish bottoming signals here. I got one today right here. Again, we hit key support at 74,000. Again, it is very possible we have a bottom. Some of these signals that are now developing. Key support at 74,000. We bounced. We broke and breached this level just a little bit, but we bounced. Flip everything back to bullish and break the downward trend line, we can turn it around and Bitcoin could bottom out. Got it over here, it marked a counter trend. Got it over here, it marked a counter trend. This could mark a reversal as you now have triple bullish divergences on some indicators. Did a pretty good job at marking turns though. It marked the December top, the reversal there. Marked the bottom here, we went a little bit lower and then you turn back up. Mark the top over here in January. A couple of times there before the peak and right after it. But again, does a pretty good job of marking the turning points. Not perfect, but it does a pretty good job. The counter trends, I could say momentum is shifting. Counter trend, it failed. Another counter trend, it failed. We still went to a new low. This could mark a turning point like it did back over here, where we still could go and get one more push down, and you could get, back-to-back signals if we try to test the 2022 trend line and test, which is at 70 to 71,000 or so. Be 72, right in that range, depending on when we come in contact with it. But if we bounce here, you've got a shot at a bottom. If we can turn back up and get rid of all the red. But I'm making the video today because I told you, again, if signals try to change, I'll let you know. And now I'm seeing these signals trying to form bottoming signals. We'll see what becomes of it. Now, I told you we had this bullish bottoming signal that was forming on Bitcoin. I told you I had to close that way. I told you it could still be canceled out. Well, we ended up with getting it completed. We might go and take out this low and go to lower levels and still get it completing. Right now we're bouncing. We've gone just a little bit lower and trying to bounce. We were not able to close below this low right here, and we were not able to close below, well, let's see, right? We're pretty much closed right at those levels, but regardless, again, you're getting a bullish signal here that very well could mark a bottom, and that's the point. Now, this one only marked a counter trend. This one could be marking a bottom right here. We never did get one right here. This could be the bottoming signal here. Signals show potential reversal points for tops and bottoms, potential places where counter trends could take place as we had over here, but some amazing signals calling the December top, calling the bottom over here before the rebound back up at the January low, and then the new high on January 20th, the back-to-back reversal signals. Amazing signals, we're getting one now. So could we have a bottom here? I think the odds are very high. 74,000 can hold, as I continue to say. Why do I say that? Because it's key support. Got to see all my signals turn back to bullish. Now, again, I talked about the tightening of the Bollinger Bands here. Again, we could see this as a possible fake out move. Again, very similar to what we had over here. We tagged the upper boundary, bands tightened up, came back down, tagged the lower boundary, and we moved to new highs, and we got to move in the other direction. Hit the upper boundary, hit the lower boundary, undercut it. Could we move in the other direction and get back up, above 90,000? Could we get back up moving towards 100,000? I think so. Rally, we got to get my signals all turning back to bullish if this is a legitimate signal. Now, again, just because the signal showed up doesn't mean we can't go lower. It can give false signals. Just looking at momentum. Okay, the signal's just looking at momentum, but it does call tops and bottoms in many cases. But it's showing where a potential bounce or reversal might take place. After being sharply lower, we had a 6% drop there on Sunday, and the drop continued, and after moving sharply lower, more than 10% in 2 days here, we had that rebound, and now you have a candle of indecision. Could that candle of indecision be marking a reversal here? It could be a continuation pattern if this signal fails and we take out 74,000. You could still move to the 70 to 71,000 area and test a rising trend line from the 2022 low. We break down below 74,000. A couple more of my signals. We had one right here at today's low. It went away. It got canceled out. So again, I'll be watching to see any more signs. So far, this signal's holding right here for a bottom, but we did breach that just a little bit. We got a bottoming tail. Here, we got to see the bars turn back to blue, and we got to flip the cloud back to green. Did a good job in calling some of the tops and bottoms here. This reversal signal eventually failed and was canceled out by another bearish signal. So far, we've had this bullish signals down here. This one was canceled out today. We're forming bullish divergences on my indicators. We had a bullish divergence over here that gave us this rally fail. We've gone to a new low, and now we have another reference point of a divergence on many, many indicators. And we can break the downward trend line, get back above the 250 period moving average, get back above horizontal resistance, January low. Then again, we could, that's this low over here, get back above this resistance here. Then you can really see a big explosive move higher. Just looking at some of my indicators to see if bottoming signals formed. And again, I got it on the one and get it on the other one here. Start to reverse. This little green circle should appear. And again, it's not necessarily calling tops and bottoms, although it does do that, telling you where potential turns could happen. Over here, got a warning sign a potential turn was coming. Well, we still went higher, and then it happened. But other times it marks the turns pretty good. Recently, we got this signal right here. So again, no signal here yet, but if we start to turn up, it may into form. We're going to flip the cloud back from red back to green. If the bounce off 74,000 does end up marking a bottom, then I'll need to see my signals begin to turn back to bullish. We'll need to see the bars turn back to green here. We need to see the line here turn back to blue. We'll need to see the background turn back to green. Now, again, the bars might turn first. I programmed the bars here to be very, very sensitive to a potential turn. Now, we got it over here, but we're going sideways. Red, green, then back to red. We're going sideways. This could be a bottoming process, a possible double bottom pattern. Over here, we had a double top. The 108,000, you came down here, and then you went slightly higher. Here, we've had this low, and then we've come down here, and we've gone slightly lower. So again, do we have a bottoming pattern? I'll be watching to see if we start getting green bars here at some point this week. I'll be watching to see if this low can hold if we end up getting a reversal. We got a spinning top candlestick after a wide range bar. We get a big rally tomorrow in the session right now for Tuesday session. We get something causing the market to rally, causing Bitcoin to rally. Does China withdraw its retaliatory tariffs? That could do it. Other good tariff news, hope, could cause a rally. But if we do get that, you could have a morning star reversal here if you get a big wide range bar back up. So we'll be watching to see how that unfolds. The spinning topic could be a continuation or reversal bar. If we get a continuation, the trend line from 2022 comes in at the 70 to 71,000 area. We'll be watching to see what happens here. Do we get a bottom? Do we get a bounce off the 74,000 area? Forming bullish divergences on my indicators. Again, we had a bullish divergence here. Now we're getting another reference point with these bullish divergences. But we got to turn things around. We got to see things flip back to bullish. The red has to go away, and we got to start getting the blue. bullish divergences all over the place. Again, we had the bullish divergence right here. Now, again, getting another one here, a larger triple bullish divergence on many indicators. Now, the RSI is looking at this as a higher low because it doesn't look at it only looks at the close, but you're getting a divergences on indicators. But we got to flip it around. We got to flip the bars back to green. We got to flip back into the positive portion of the cloud and break the downward trend line. Here's the bull flag. I get oscillators going back into the positive region. They are forming bullish divergences up here as well. Right now we've got red bars. We're in the red portion of the cloud. We got to flip that around if we're going to turn it around for Bitcoin. Ever since bars began to start to turn back to red, again, we've moved into the negative region with oscillators. Got a bounce here. Saw some of them tried to go positive. Here, we didn't. But at some point, Bitcoin's going to come roaring back, and that could be with this bounce of 74,000, or if we go lower at 70 to 71,000, that's the next level of support. We flip back to a bearish signal here. Again, this is showing sideways movement, and if we can bounce off of this area, as we did over here, and we do it again here, just going slightly lower each time to keep support at 74,000, you got to be able to get above these levels. I'll be watching to see if my bars on these daily charts start flipping back to bullish bars here, green bars. Again, a lot of the indicators you see in my videos, I've programmed myself, and because I'm an extremely boring person, I work on charts usually 9 to 12 hours a day working on charts. It took me months and months and months to program this and get it right. My favorites. Again, I programmed this to try to get the turn spot on, and I think it does a really, really good job. Again, marking the reversal here, turning back up, the fake move, and then turn back down, and then the reversal back up here. This entire move down. Here we try to turn, and it's turned bearish. So I'm going to be watching for my signals to turn back to bullish, and if they do, then we can try to get a breakout. We could try to clear overhead resistance at January low where we turned off of. I programmed this one so good, I call it the Maestro. Quickly, we moved to a new low, but we got a bottoming tail here with Bitcoin futures at the 200 period. We're at that Bitcoin's average price on the Bitcoin. We had a bullish divergence right here on the awesome oscillator. Now we've got, again, a larger divergence with this low right here. As we talked about, triple divergence on a lot of indicators. Still could go down and hit 71,000, which is a 2022 trend line. If we break this level, if it's a continuation doji here for the Bitcoin futures and Bitcoin price, but if we start firming up right here, say we get a big rally, say China caves tomorrow and they withdraw their retaliatory tariffs, could see a massive, massive rally with that. I think that is likely going to be the case. Potential divergence completing now on the MACD if we could turn back up and go into positive territory with Bitcoin futures and the Bitcoin price. See things flip around, a bullish reversal of conditions, getting a blue or green cloud and blue bars, and then getting back above the 50 period moving average, the green line there. This is Bitcoin futures. Continue to warn. I believe you're going to get a massive negative divergence here in the coming months ahead with Bitcoin. I think you're going to see this divergence gave us this sell-off, okay? This next divergence is likely going to give Bitcoin the top, and you're going to have this massive negative divergence that's going to set up probably going into the summer. You're going to see the stochastic recycle back up, the MACD recycle back up, and also end up forming a divergence, and that's going to mark the Bitcoin top when that happens. Nobody believes Bitcoin can rally. Back at the tops, nobody believed it would sell off. Called the days of the December and January peaks off of that trend line I've been sharing with you. I talked about it every single video back at the time, back in December and January, because I told you we were going to get a sell-off there. Nobody believed we can go down. Now nobody believes we can go back up. I think Bitcoin's going to recover and end up forming a divergence here on the awesome oscillator, the MACD, here in the weekly time frame for Bitcoin.